Hello and welcome to Gar1onriva's Top 5. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 shooter games. This was voted for by my patrons, so please consider pledging if you want to have your say on future top or bottom 5s. FPS and third-person shooter games are a very popular genre. I've played a lot of them, both where shooting is all there is, as well as ones where it's just an important mechanic. I'll be listing my favourite 5, but not necessarily by how good the games are, but more about how good the shooting is. Two things to remember: first of all, these are my personal opinions, so please don't tell me I'm wrong, but also these are limited only to the ones that I have seen and or played. Number 5. Blacklight Retribution. In my opinion, this is an underrated game. It was released in 2012 as a free-to-play game and had microtransactions. Where it stands out for me is in the weapon customization as well as a couple of the unique abilities that you get in the game. In Blacklight, you can fully mod your gun with muzzles, barrels, magazines, stocks, sights and receivers. You can tweak every single aspect of the gun, and it has detailed stats about what the changes actually do. Unlike in, say, Rainbow Six Siege, these modifications can fundamentally change the way the gun works, allowing you to get the exact right feel that you want. You use in-game currency to buy these mods, and you can either buy them outright or you can rent them for a day or more. Then when the timer runs out on the rent, you can pay in-game currency again to keep it for another day. That way, if you play often, you can use any parts relatively cheaply. The unique things the game had was it had a way to summon a hard suit, which is basically a dreadnought that you could just get into and use until it's destroyed. To counter this, every player has something called an HRV, a hyper-reality visor. It's basically a wall hack, letting you see players, traps, as well as specific weak points on hard suits. Because every player had it and you can only use it for short bursts, it wasn't game-breaking. Overall, I may be looking at the game with nostalgia or rose-tinted glasses, but I remember that I really enjoyed it. It's just a shame that no one ever wants to play this free game. Number 4. Prey. I've talked before about how much I like Prey. This list is fitting as Prey Mooncrash came out recently and I've been playing that a lot. The shooting in Prey feels solid and satisfying. Shotgun blasts feel powerful. There aren't a lot of different guns in the game and long range is generally a weak point in Prey, but tactically I feel I have everything I need. Clever use of surprise attacks, mobility and supplementary powers means I can take on anything I meet. Not to mention that being able to smoothly chain a couple of psychic powers, a flying leap and a shotgun blast to the closest thing the enemy has to a face is very cool. I talked about the Prey shotgun in my top 5 FPS weapons list, so check that out at the end if you want to hear more on that. When it comes down to it, Prey's shooting is both challenging and rewarding, and I never feel overpowered or out of my depth. Number 3. Doom 2016. This had to make this list. The 2016 reboot of Doom was a massive surprise on how much I enjoyed it. The gunplay was incredibly visceral and satisfying, and the wide range of weapons meant I could find a gun I liked for each job. One connected issue to that is that there were perhaps too many guns. Having a shotgun and a super shotgun seems unnecessary, making it less of tactically choosing and more grabbing one and chancing it. Admittedly, this became less of a thing as I got the feel for each gun, which is very fun to do, but it's still not perfect. One way the game marks itself as special is the chainsaw. You get the chainsaw early on, it costs fuel to use, but chainsawed enemies drop a lot of ammo. This is very cleverly done because you chainsaw when you're out of ammo, and then it gives you more ammo to shoot. It's a fantastic way to keep the pace up and the action very gory. I must say that I'm very much looking forward to Doom Eternal. Number 2. Overwatch. I bet you thought this one would be number 1. Despite not properly playing it for months, Overwatch holds a special place in my heart. Each and every character feels unique, they play differently and can all be used effectively on a team. D.Va is undeniably my favourite, with her tough mech and her small pilot, but she's not the only one I like. I got pretty good at using Tracer to scout for my team, attacking flanks and ambushing lone heroes. Orisa is a more defensive large gun that we use when defending, and Mercy may have been somewhat nerfed into the ground, according to my friends, but I never feel safer than when I have one in my pocket. The gameplay of Overwatch is very colourful, varied, and above all fun. The plethora of game modes, both official and homemade, mean you can do a lot with the characters and their unique abilities. One thing I have to mention though is Hammond. I know a lot of people seem to love him, but I really don't like his addition. I can barely tolerate Winston, but adding another hyper-intelligent animal from the moon is just a step too far. I'm not going to complain about it more now, as Hammond hasn't even been properly released yet, but it's an issue I just had to mention. And finally, number 1. Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know why I chose this one to come first, but I can't say it's wrong. In the last few months I've played more Siege than Overwatch, but the things I like about it are different. Rainbow Six Siege takes a more realistic approach by referencing real organisations and having mostly real technology. Recent updates have added more futuristic technology like holograms, but it's still fitting to the world. Maybe it's because I've played it so much, but I also feel that I know what works with what. The characters you can play as, known as operators, are split into attackers and defenders. Each one also gets a unique ability or tool. Attackers get things that help them breach or search for defenders, whereas defenders get things to block, incapacitate, or just go unnoticed. There are a few characters on each side I feel I know well, and when I play with my friends I indulge the whole military tactics thing, using terms like cover me, reloading, and on your six. Maybe you think that's lame, but we enjoy it. And when you're having fun, what else matters? And Rainbow Six Siege is fun. It can be very frustrating at times with toxic players or unsporting tactics, or if you just lose a lot, but something just makes us keep playing despite all these things. And that is all for my list. Please comment below with your favourite shooter games, as well as suggestions for future top or bottom 5s. Remember that you can vote for next month's top 5 by pledging to my Patreon linked in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you later.